I want you to visualize something with me for a second. It's a scene I think we've all been in, either physically or maybe metaphorically.
Oh, definitely.
So you are standing outside. The sky has completely opened up. I'm talking a torrential, miserable downpour.
The kind where you're soaked in 5 seconds.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Cold, gray, soaking wet. But you were prepared. You have this massive industrial strength umbrella.
Oh, nice.
It's sturdy, it's heavy, and most importantly, it is keeping you completely dry. In that specific moment, that object is the most valuable thing you own. It is literally saving you.
Right, it's your lifeline. Without it, you're just miserable.
Right. But now, keep that exact image in your mind and fast forward about 30 minutes. The storm front passes. The clouds break. The sun comes blasting out. The pavement starts to steam.
It turns into a beautiful hot day.
It's gorgeous out. But, and here's the kicker, you are still standing there, gripping that massive, heavy umbrella, holding it wide open right over your head.
And suddenly the picture changes completely. You go from looking prepared to looking, well, ridiculous.
Ridiculous and, frankly, burdened. That specific shift, going from a lifeline to a liability, is what we are unpacking today.
It's such a great visual.
It really is. We're looking at a really evocative piece of visual wisdom from a creator named Dash Ivash Iviki Dash.
It's a very moody image.
Yeah, it shows a person huddled under an umbrella in the dark rain, but the text overlaid on it is where the punch comes from. It delivers what it calls a simple but harsh truth about utility, timing, and letting go.
It really is a fascinating study in context. The source text opens with this line. It says, even an umbrella becomes a burden to carry when it stops raining.
Yeah.
And before we even get to the deeper philosophy of it, just think about the actual physics of that statement.
It's deceptively simple, isn't it? Because the umbrella itself hasn't changed at all. It hasn't broken. It hasn't malfunctioned.
No, physically, the object is identical. Same weight, same shape, same function. But its value has completely inverted.
Right.
In the rain, the weight of the umbrella is negligible because the payoff, staying dry is just so high. The cost of carrying it is absolutely worth the benefit of the protection.
But the second the rain stops,
The benefit drops to zero, and suddenly all you are left with is the cost, the weight, the awkwardness, the fact that one of your hands is occupied doing something that is no longer necessary.
that is such a crucial distinction to make. We usually judge things as good or bad based on what they are. An umbrella is generally a good object.
Right, it's useful.
But this source is arguing that nothing really has intrinsic value in a vacuum. Value is entirely dependent on the environment.
Exactly. It's the concept of contextual utility. A fur coat is a lifesaver in the Arctic and a total torture device in the Sahara.
That's a great way to put it.
The object didn't change at all. The weather did. And the source text takes this physical reality and immediately expands it. It says, same thing applies in every aspect of our life.
That is a massive claim. Every aspect.
Yeah.
It's an absolute statement. The author is suggesting that this isn't just about rain gear, it's a universal law of human behavior. And this is where we have to get a little uncomfortable because the text continues with that harsh truth we mentioned.
Right, the harsh truth.
It says, once someone or something serves its purpose, it becomes a burden to carry.
Okay, I want to pause there because that phrase, serves its purpose, can really rub people the wrong way.
It feels very utilitarian.
Very. Especially when they add someone into the mix. But let's start with the something. That feels a little safer to dissect first.
Good idea.
When we talk about habits or behaviors becoming burdens, what does that actually look like for you in the real world?
Well, think about survival mechanisms. We often develop very specific, intense behaviors to get us through a crisis, a storm, if you will.
Like a financial crisis.
That is a perfect example. Let's say you spend your 20s barely making ends meet. You are in a serious financial storm. To survive, you develop a frugality umbrella. You count every penny, you never eat out, you feel incredibly guilty buying a coffee, you hoard resources.
You have to.
Right. That anxiety, that hypervigilance, it serves a purpose. It keeps you from going bankrupt. It saves you.
But then, let's say you get a better job. You get promoted, you're finally stable, the sun comes out.
But you're still carrying the umbrella. You still panic when you buy a coffee. You still can't enjoy a vacation because you're obsessing over the cost.
Oh, I know people exactly like that.
The behavior that was once prudence has morphed into a scarcity mindset. It is now limiting your life, damaging your relationships, and causing you stress. The tool has officially become a burden.
That really resonates. It's almost like the behavior is a ghost to the past problem. You're fighting a war that ended 5 years ago.
Precisely. And the cost of carrying that umbrella umbrella is high. It's cognitive load, it's emotional energy. If you are clutching the handle of that old survival tactic, your hand just isn't free to pick up something new.
You can't embrace the abundance of the sun because you're still braced for the rain.
Exactly.
So in that context, the burden isn't the habit itself, but the mismatch between the habit and the current reality.
Yes. It's the drag coefficient. You are moving through life with unnecessary resistance.
Okay, now I have to push you on the next part of the text, because this is where I think a lot of listeners, and honestly, myself included, might feel a little resistance.
The someone part.
Yes, the source says, once someone serves its purpose, it becomes a burden.
It's a very provocative line.
It sounds incredibly cold. Serves its purpose. We're talking about human beings here, not tools. You don't just use a person and then discard them like a broken umbrella.
No, of course not.
That feels morally wrong.
Mm.
How do we reconcile that with being a decent human being?
I'm really glad you brought that up, because that visceral reaction you're feeling right now, that's exactly the friction the artist wants you to feel.
Yeah.
Yes. It does sound cold if you view relationships as static, permanent fixtures, but the source is asking us to look at the dynamics of relationships, which are often seasonal.
Seasonal in what way?
Think about the war buddy phenomenon. Or, to stick to our metaphor, the storm companion. Let's say you are going through a terrible divorce, or a really chaotic phase at work, or a period of deep grief.
Okay.
You meet someone who is in the exact same boat, you bond over the trauma, you complain together, you vent, you support each other in that dark, rainy place.
I've definitely had friends like that. You're basically in the trenches together.
Exactly. They are essential, they are your umbrella, they understand the rain in a way no one else does. But then you heal, you move on, you start to feel happy again.
Sun comes out for you.
Yes, but maybe for them it's still raining. Or maybe the only way they know how to relate to you is through that shared trauma.
So every time you talk to them, they want to drag you right back into the complaint session.
Yeah.
They want to relive the war stories.
And suddenly, that phone call, which used to be an absolute lifeline, feels heavy. You see their name pop up and you feel a pit in your stomach.
Wow. Yeah.
That is the exact moment the dynamic has shifted from support to burden. It's not that they are a bad person. It's that the purpose of the connection navigating the storm has been fulfilled.
But that's where the guilt comes in. You feel like a total traitor. You think, they were there for me when I was down. I can't just leave them now that I'm up.
That guilt is the weight of the umbrella. That is exactly what the text is identifying. We often confuse loyalty with stagnation.
Oh, that's good.
We think loyalty means maintaining the exact same dynamic forever, regardless of how we've changed. But the source is arguing that is actually a form of self-sabotage.
Right.
If you stay in the rain just to keep someone company, you are both wet, you aren't helping them, you're just hindering your own growth.
So the harsh truth isn't that you hate the person. It's the admission that the role they played in your life is finished.
Correct. It's recognizing obsolescence. A teacher is essential for a student. But if you graduate and the teacher insists on still grading your life choices, that relationship becomes a burden.
That would be exhausting.
Parents are essential for children. But if a parent tries to parent a 40-year-old the exact same way they parented a 4-year-old, it's a burden. The purpose was raising the child. Once that is done, the dynamic must change, or it becomes a weight to carry.
It's the refusal to evolve that creates the burden.
Yes, and admitting that is painful. It requires a level of honesty that most of us just actively avoid. We'd rather carry the heavy umbrella and be secretly resentful than admit we don't need it anymore.
Because admitting we don't need it feels like an insult to the umbrella.
Exactly. Which brings us to the pivot in the source material. Because if the text stopped right there, if it just said, people are tools, use them and lose them, it would be borderline sociopathic.
It really would.
But it doesn't stop there.
No, it offers a really specific instruction on how to put the umbrella down without being a jerk about it.
Right. The bottom half of the text says, but never forget and value what helped you in every situation. And then it gives the final command, be grateful.
This is the part I really want to dig into, because usually when we think of letting go of a burden, we think of rejection.
We do.
We think we have to find flaws in the thing to justify dropping it. Like, I'm quitting this job because it sucks, or I'm leaving this friend because they're annoying.
That's just a defense mechanism. We rewrite history to make the separation easier on ourselves. We vilify the umbrella so we don't feel guilty about closing it.
But the source suggests the exact opposite approach.
It suggests gratitude as a release mechanism. This is a really powerful psychological reframe. Instead of pushing the thing away with anger, you release it with thanks.
Walk me through that. How does saying thank you actually help me detach? Usually gratitude makes me feel more attached to things.
Think about a graduation ceremony. It is quite literally a ritual of gratitude and release. You celebrate the school, you thank the teachers, you value the education,
Yeah.
and then you leave. You don't stay in high school forever just because you liked it. The gratitude is what allows you to mark the experience as complete.
That's a fantastic analogy.
Yeah.
The ceremony signals that the purpose has been fully served.
Exactly. When you look at that old coping mechanism, the anxiety, the frugality, the defensiveness, instead of saying, I'm so broken for having this, you say, thank you. You protected me when I was vulnerable. You did your job perfectly. But I'm safe now. Mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished. I like that a lot. It honors the utility.
It validates the past while freeing the future. If you acknowledge the value, you don't have to carry the object. You keep the lesson, you drop the weight. The text says, value what helped you. It doesn't say, keep carrying what helped you.
Right.
Those are two very different actions.
That distinction is everything. Value is internal. Carrying is external. You can value the friend who got you through the divorce without spending every single Friday night reliving the misery with them.
Precisely. And in fact, true gratitude honors them more than resentment does. If you keep carrying the umbrella in the sun, eventually you will start to hate the umbrella.
You definitely will.
You'll resent the weight. You'll resent the awkwardness. By putting it down at the right time with gratitude, you preserve the memory of it as a positive thing.
So the timing is actually an act of preservation.
It is. It preserves the dignity of the relationship or the habit. It allows it to retire as a hero rather than living long enough to become the villain.
That's really profound. It reminds me of that saying, don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened. But this is way more active. It's put it down because it's over, be grateful because it worked.
And then look up at the sun. That's the implied final step here. The image shows the person in the rain, but the text talks about when it stops. The danger is that we get so used to looking down, huddled under our shields, that we miss the fact that the weather has changed entirely.
We get so comfortable in the struggle that we don't know how to operate in the peace.
That is a huge part of it. Identity attachment. Who am I if I'm not the survivor? Who am I if I'm not the fixer? Who am I if I'm not the struggling artist? Sometimes the umbrella is who we think we are. Putting it down feels like getting naked.
It's vulnerable. The sun is bright. People can see you.
It is vulnerable, but it's the only way to actually experience the warmth. You can't feel the sun if you never put down the shield. The source is challenging us to be brave enough to be unburdened.
And that really circles back to why they call it a harsh truth. It's harsh because it demands we take responsibility for our own baggage. We can't blame the rain anymore if the sun is shining.
Right. If you are still wet, it's the weather. If you are exhausted from carrying a heavy shield on a sunny day, that's on you. That is a choice you are making every single morning.
So let's bring this home for the listener who is nodding along right now, but maybe feeling a little called out. We've established that context creates value. We've established that relationships and habits have expiration dates on their utility. And we've established that gratitude is the key to unlocking the exit door.
It's a process of inventory. Regular, honest inventory.
If someone is listening to this and thinking, okay, I think I might be carrying a few umbrellas, where do they start?
I would say look for the friction. Look for the things in your life that feel heavy, that feel draining, where you feel like you are trying too hard to make it work.
The things that used to be easy, but are now really hard.
Exactly. And ask yourself the binary question, is this heavy because it's difficult, or is it heavy because it's dead weight? Is it serving a purpose today, or are you paying rent on a storage unit for a life you lived 5 years ago?
And if the answer is, it's dead weight.
Then practice the graduation. Acknowledge the help it gave you. Say the words, either literally or mentally. Say, thank you for getting me here, and then deliberately lay it down.
It sounds scary, but the alternative is walking through a beautiful day bracing for a storm that isn't even happening.
And missing the life you actually have because you're too busy protecting the life you used to have.
Well, on that note, I think we've all got some mental closets to clean out today. This deep dive into Iva Shavicki's visual wisdom has been a real reality check. It turns out the umbrella isn't the problem. The rain isn't the problem. It's our inability to check the weather.
Check the weather, respect the season, and travel light.
I love that. Travel light. Thank you all for diving in with us today. I want to leave you with one final thought to mull over. If you are feeling weighed down by something today, Is it actually a bad thing? Or is it just a good thing that has finished doing its job? Are you carrying an umbrella in the sun? We'll catch you on the next one.